Hello and welcome to the press release, of course. I'm your hostess, Portia Bright, and tonight is September 28th, 2018. And of course, you're usually catching my show at 8 p.m. in Eastern North Carolina. However, my brother is actually having a wedding. I want to be able to free myself up to celebrate and enjoy all of the festivities that he's partaking in. And so what I hope you'll be able to do is continue to stay linked with me throughout this show, as well as after the show, by actually visiting me on social media on Instagram and Facebook at the press release for you to continue to find out more information that you need to know about, as always, per usual. Now, tonight I have a very special show for you tonight. As you see, I have a special guest, and we're going to be talking about a host of things tonight. My special guest is Miss Marion Blackburn. Welcome.
Hello, Portia.
And I'm hoping that you will actually enjoy our conversation tonight. Miss Marion, I've known her, and many of you may have met her previously, serving on the city council and working in the community, just basically a superwoman for the people and the animals all across our state of Eastern North Carolina. I could actually have Miss Marion. How are you doing?
Portia, I'm doing fantastic, and I just want to say right back at you, fantastic to work with, a dynamic person that I am just delighted to see you hosting this show. So it's great to be here.
Well, that is wonderful. Now let's do some troubleshooting, because it sounds like we need to turn up your microphone on your side. I can hear you now. I'm not sure what happened, but tonight I wanted to invite you onto the show because you're actually doing some amazing things with the Pitt County Democratic Party. You're actually serving as the policy developer over there, as well as their data analyst. Can you kind of give us a little bit of insight of what specifically you're hoping to get accomplished during the election year?
And Portia, can you hear me better now? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, super. I had to turn the volume up. Portia, I am the campaign manager over here at the Pitt County Democratic Party, and my role is really just to, we've said it before, get out and vote. We want to make sure that everyone is very involved in this election. I think that we have seen that when people don't vote, we get leadership that doesn't really represent all of us, and I think that is central to the Democratic Party, and that's part of our core values, is that we represent everyone. We don't focus on any one group, and nor do we define ourselves by, gender politics, race politics, money politics. That's not us. We represent everyone. Those are our core values. Our other core values, of course, are compassion, empathy, public works, infrastructure, and of course, responsible use of taxpayer dollars. So really, this election, we're all very excited to have a chance to take part. And if you missed participating in 2016, we know now is your chance.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Now, I see that you are actually mentioning about getting out to vote. What can people actually do right now to actually help get out to vote? Because it takes more than just one person.
Portia, it absolutely does. And this week, of course, is the When We All Vote week of activities. Mm-hmm. And that is the new national nonprofit, as you know, because you have headed up an event associated with Vote, yes. And When We All Vote is just one example. We all know Rock the Vote. Helping everyone to understand, for someone like yourself and even for me, we are really engaged in the process of politics. We really enjoy the process of politics. We enjoy being part of the issues and knowing about candidates and, what candidates stand for, and even individual races. A lot of people are not that interested. They too must be represented. Just because a person is not super engaged and intense, they also deserve to be represented. We are a democracy here. We represent everyone. So what does it mean to get out the vote? Why is voting important? When We All Vote, Rock the Vote, whatever you want to do, vote. What can people do? You know, one of the simplest things we can do is just talk to each other. Hey, did you know this is a general election season? November 6th, it's time to vote. Are you unhappy about what you're seeing happening right now? I am. When you have those conversations, you know, sometimes, I've heard especially women say, you know, gosh, I feel very uncomfortable with what's happening right now. That's a great opportunity to say, you know, you have a voice. Your voice belongs in Washington. That's one way. There's also larger organizations, Rock the Vote, When We All Vote, your own party. I'm representing the Democratic Party, but if a person is Republican, independent, there are groups, that you can join. You can, and I brought some documents, I got my paperwork. You can share information here in Pitt County. Early voting starts October 17th and it runs through November 3rd. You will rarely find me without one of these on my person, so I can distribute it. That's another thing people can do. You can distribute documents like this. You can take these to your church. You can take these to your university. You're living in a dormitory, you'd share these with the folks that you live with. Just share with people this document. This is a registration form. Registration to vote in the November 3rd election ends November 12th. So you can register up October 12th. The good thing about One Stop, you can do it all in one place. And there's no hassle, no muss, no fuss. You register, you vote. If there's any questions that need to be answered, you can do it then. So an individual is very important, but that individual can tie in with groups and other organizations, and together we can get that word out.
Oh, yeah. Now, I know, it takes a lot of ground game. And when I mean that, I mean grassroots level, social media, and all types of things. But most importantly, a lot of people don't realize is it takes finances to be able to organize an effective campaign to actually help our party secure these positions. So how can people donate?
Portia, thank you so much for asking. If you're interested in supporting the Pitt County Democratic Party, you can go to our website, which is pittcountydems.com. And we have a button. It's super easy. You just press the button and you can contribute. We've had a lot of people contributing that way. Of course, you can send us a check and you can find that information on our website as well. And if people want to PM me either on Facebook or send me a message, I'm happy to connect them with a way to contribute. You're absolutely right that money is important. I think a lot of us would often, I think the role of money and finances is perhaps not understood. It is very difficult, as we were just talking about, to inform people of all of the issues and all of the candidates. There's a lot of complexity. To do that takes money. You can print materials, you need to build websites. In some cases, you need to, pay IT support to help you get those websites running. There's ink for printers, there's computers like the one I'm talking to you on now. There's just a lot of cost involved. So that's where the money is used. And yes, it's very appreciated.
Mm-hmm. Now, I see that you have one of these signs in the back, Protect Our North Carolina Constitution. Is that something that you're supporting individually, or is the whole party supporting it?
Let's see if it'll stay this time. The state Democratic Party and the Pitt County Democratic Party have taken the position that we oppose all 6 of these constitutional amendments. Some of them, all 6 of them, vote against all 6 of them is what we are recommending, and we feel very strongly about that. Now, you may look at these amendments and you can say, what's wrong, for instance, with the first one about trapping, hunting, and fishing? What is wrong with saying people have a right to trap and hunt and fish? Ostensibly, yeah, it looks fine. But what about if there is, for instance, an endangered fish population, and a county wants to regulate that fish population so it doesn't get fished into extinction? Mm-hmm. This amendment would make it impossible for us to do those very things that we need to do in order to assure people are able to fish. You can look at trapping regulations the same way. Europe and Canada and Russia have adopted regulations to define the types of traps that are used. This in no way prevents trapping. What it does do is that these are traps, they're even called humane traps. this law would make it impossible for counties to say it is preferable to use these humane traps. Some other examples are, some very sensible rules that counties may want to make about hunting, such as, you can't fire a shot within a certain distance of a house or city. It would completely remove the ability of communities to make these laws for themselves. Right. And if you go down the list, that's probably the one that people might have the most questions about. How could it possibly be bad? We already have the ability to hunt, trap, and fish in this state. It's regulated by the Fish and Wildlife Department or agency. And so this constitutional amendment is really just a power grab, as the rest of them also have an element of, taking power away from communities and giving it to the General Assembly with no direction on how that's going to work.
Well, Miss Marion, you really went into in-depth detail, and actually there's more details for people to know about, because a lot of times they don't even know what the constitutional amendments are that are going to be on the ballot. So can they actually come to the Pitt County Democratic Party to find that information, and where are you located?
We are located in Greenville at 2409 Charles Boulevard. Our office is open between 11:30 and 6:30 on weekdays, and from 10 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon on Saturdays.
Wonderful. Are there any upcoming events that people need to know about?
Absolutely. I just put together some events today. On Saturday at noon, October 6th, that's a week from tomorrow, there will be a Healthcare for All rally at the Pitt County Courthouse. We're very excited about that. There's someone visiting right now. Later that afternoon at the RA Fountain General Store, the candidates are meeting, and there's going to be an ice cream social. So that's a great opportunity to meet your candidates. The candidates themselves will be serving ice cream. And then a week later on October the 11th, I think that's a Thursday, commission candidate Alex Albright will have an event. And then the next day on the 12th, Sheriff candidate Paula Dance is having a meet and greet at the train depot in Winterville.
Wonderful. There are a host of wonderful events going up, and I hope people really get out and actually talk to the candidates, because if not, then I think people are really going to miss out on all the information that they need to make that most educated decision for them. And so I'm encouraging people to do that, and I really appreciate you. Ms. Marion, we really appreciate you coming on tonight, and we thank you so much, and we're hoping to hear from you again in the future.
Well, Portia, anytime you're involved, I'm a green light. I'm glad to take part. So just let me know.
I love it.
Portia, thank you so much for the invitation. Please remind everybody, early voting starts October 17th, runs through November 3rd. Election day is November 6th. Get out and vote.
Thank you. Peace.
Thank you, Portia.
All right, we had a phenomenal opportunity to talk to Miss Marion Blackburn tonight to discuss some of the amazing things that are taking place at the Pitt County Democratic Party. And we hope you will actually take an opportunity to go by there to actually pick up some materials, voter registration forms, anything you can pretty much think of to help you make the educated decision for your family. And so up next on the press release, I have a host of information for you tonight, but there's something amazing that actually just took place today. And actually the governor was behind it. So I want to tell you about that. Now, North Carolina has won an $18.5 million grant to hire North Carolinians who can actually assist in hard-hit areas by Hurricane Florence. Now, to actually work on the recovery efforts, the funds come from a grant requested, as I mentioned earlier, by the North Carolina Department of Commerce Division of Workforce Solutions, and was awarded by the U.S. Department of Labor. And this is basically through the disaster of dislocated workers grants. And residents of counties declared national disaster areas will be employed in jobs that support either cleanup and recovery from the storm's devastation or humanitarian assistance to residents of the affected areas. And so this is actually being supported by the Workforce Innovation Fund and Opportunity Act, the Dislocated Workers Grants Fund, and it's also a temporary opportunity for jobs in response to large and unexpected events that cause significant job losses. Like, for instance, North Carolina and South Carolina were really hit pretty bad by the Hurricane Florence. And so a lot of people lost their homes. A lot of people lost businesses and things like that they thought they wouldn't be able to, a lot of times right now we're seeing people who are not able to make it back home even today because so many areas were actually affected. And in fact, 28 counties have currently included in the program are Beaufort, Bladen, Brunswick, Carteret, Columbus, Cumberland, Duplin, Greene, Harnett, Hope, Hyde, Johnson, Lee, Lenore, Jones, Moore, New Hanover, Onslow County, Pamlico County, Pitt, Pender, Richmond, Robertson, Sampson, Scotland, Wayne, and Wilson counties are all included in this opportunity for you to get employed to help in terms of the cleanup and so forth. And so participants in the grant will be employed by nonprofits and government agencies, of course, for up to 12 months, which is really cool because we're actually on the brink of winter time. And, a lot of times people can't, they have seasonal jobs, so they can't find work except for during a specific season. So this opportunity is so phenomenal. First of all, you're, being able to provide for your families because you have a job. And secondly, you're helping other families who's lost everything get restored back to some level of normalcy. And so I feel like this would really help whoever is out there that's dealing with some things and they need a job and they don't know which way to turn. I hope you're actually watching tonight because this opportunity speaks specifically for you. And so I'll totally be praying for you on that. Now, I want to tell you a little bit more about this. Workers may be eligible for jobs under the grant by being temporarily or permanently laid off as a consequence of the hurricane or by meeting certain criteria. And I actually have where you can go and visit NC Works or ncworks.gov to actually apply for that opportunity and find out more information about it. So that way you can actually share that with some other people who are actually other areas, because we have family everywhere, right? Yeah, like everybody that we know doesn't live necessarily right here on us, but those opportunities can be spread abroad. As I mentioned to you, there were 28 counties, and that's a lot of people who are impacted. And so hopefully this opportunity helps them. Kudos to our governor for actually doing a phenomenal job again. In fact, I want to tell you about the North Carolina Disaster Relief Fund. Governor Cooper actually encouraged people in North Carolina to actually, start donating because we need the resources. That is not an understatement at all. A lot of people, as I mentioned, have been affected by this. So Governor Cooper is actually encouraging people to donate to the North Carolina Disaster Recovery Relief Fund. And of course, your girl is going to tell you how to actually do that. That information should be shared with you right now at this particular time. And so let me tell you a little bit about where you're actually donating to. North Carolina Disaster Recovery Relief Fund will actually support nonprofit organizations and local